Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Big box retailers, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a bill in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. Senate Bill 1838 would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, visit handsoffmyrewards.com and tell them to oppose credit card routing legislation paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Jake Knapp is the inventor of the design sprint and the New York Times bestselling author of the book Sprint. He's also the co-founder of Character, a venture fund for early stage startups. How and why did you start using Miro?
I came from this position of thinking, I don't want to be doing stuff online, to thinking now when I do a sprint in person with a company, it's like, we're going to use Miro, even though we're all in the same room, because that's a better way for us to get this work done. As an investor, we're basically investing in their ability to solve problems. We're saying, we think this group of people is going to be able to solve a problem in a really great way and create value by doing it. And actually, you need to give people the tools that can help them make decisions, help them collaborate, help them visualize and see things in a different way. And Miro does all those things. So to me, at least as an investor, I'm thinking, give the team the tools that are going to help them think, that are going to make the most, brighten their skills as smart folks. And Miro is at the top of that list.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello everyone, a Merry Christmas to you all. For our Christmas Day edition, I spoke earlier this week to Natalie O'Rourke, the manager of Park Lane Stables in Teddington, southwest London. Many of you will know Natalie's story, which caught the national headlines during lockdown in early 2021. A lot has happened since then, so check out episodes 29, 36 and 127. But for all the latest news at Park Lane, let's hear from Natalie. Welcome back to the Paddock and the Pavilion, Natalie. Lots to catch up on.
Yeah, there's a lot been happening. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Well, we certainly have. We've got your book, Only Heroes and Horses, appearing on breakfast television live. What's going on now at Park Lane Stables? And you've also had a trip, I hope I'm right here, to Windsor Castle to get your MBE on the 7th of December.
That's right, yeah. I was very lucky to receive my MBE from Prince William. So I was really delighted that it was him because I'm a big fan of William. So yeah, when we got there, I asked the policeman on the gate and said, can you tell me who it is today? Because you don't get to know till you get there. And he said, oh, do you really want me to tell you or do you want a surprise? And I said, no, I really, really want you to tell me. And he told me it was William, and then I burst into tears because I was so happy.
How early do you have to get there for the presentation?
We had to be there at 1:45, and then it's all very slick, very, very slick. So then we were allowed to park in the castle, which was really exciting because we got to drive up the long walk. So that was exciting in itself. And then they take you through, they look after you so well. And then you're held in different areas. So you sort of move through different rooms. And then in the final room before you receive your MBE, there's, you do like a dress rehearsal so that you don't get anything wrong. So there's quite a bit of preparation time, probably an hour and a half or so. But yeah, it was really amazing. It was completely surreal. I still can't believe it happened, to be honest.
So you have a dummy presentation, do you?
Yeah, it's really clever. Like, because they know that people are nervous, and the people that work there are so lovely, and they keep saying, if there's anything you want to ask, just come and ask. And then they get you to practice curtsying, practice going up to Prince William, so that it makes you feel much calmer. So when it's your turn, because there's a live feed as well, so you can see the people that are going ahead of you. So when I was there, someone was knighted before me. So you can see all of that happening. So that's sort of reassuring because you can see what the layout of the room is and everything. But I think it was really good that you get a little practice, so you get your curtsy right and everything on your big moment.
And who did you go with?
I went with my dad because, well, it was for my dad, really. I've never would have got as far as I have today without my dad. So it had to be my dad. And then my daughter Alice came as well. And they're allowed to come in the room with you. And they sort of stand to the side while you receive your award. And then there's like a string quartet. And when it was my turn to go in, the string quartet were playing Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. So it was really nice memory because now, like, every time I hear that song, I'll remember that moment. But yeah, it was a really emotional day. My dad was so proud, and I couldn't have asked for more. It was dry and sunny. It was a beautiful day. So yeah, it was perfect, to be honest.
And what did the Prince of Wales say?
He said he asked me. I thought it was a really clever question, actually, because he asked me, what is an average day like for you? And I thought, well, that's a great question, isn't it? Because you could ask that to anybody. So I said, well, there is no such thing as an average day at Park Lane Stables, to be honest. Every day is different. And just then we spoke about sort of the benefits of horses, and how that, people were now recognising that it's not just all about riding and you can get massive benefit from just being around them. And I managed to thank him for my award, and say thank you for recognising the work that horses do, really. It probably only lasted about 90 seconds, but it felt like a long time. And I was worried that I would talk too much. And the lady said, well, when he wants you to stop talking, he will shake your hand. And if he doesn't want to shake your hand, he'll just step back from you. But he did shake my hand. So I knew that was my cue to be quiet.
And your MBE was for services to people with disabilities and to the community in Teddington. You must have been proud for the people of Teddington as well.
Oh, yeah, very proud. Yeah, I mean, really proud to have, done that work on behalf of them and to sort of put Teddington on the map, really. And I feel like my Brentford family are very proud of me as well, because when I go to football, it does feel like a huge family. And I feel like I've made them proud. So I'm going to ask Brentford if they can maybe put it in the programme or something so that all my B family can see what happened as well. So, yeah, I felt like I was receiving it on behalf of a lot of people, to be honest. And, I hope I've made them all proud.
Well, you've certainly come a long way from the good news story of 2021.
Yeah, such a long way. I mean, it's actually hard to believe how far I've come because, I can remember really dark days of living in a little cottage with my two friends, and we had no heat and had no money, and going to bed with our coats on and thinking how we're going to get through the next day, let alone the next month, And I think we just got through those times, and we just had belief, really. We believed that we could get through it, and we have.
Well, it's so nice to speak to someone who really deserves the award. Not that people don't, but you're a member of the community who've done so much for your local community and for riding for the disabled to be presented with an MBE. And,
thank you. Someone said that I restored their faith in the honours system because someone said that they felt that they don't go to ordinary people. And actually on the day, they must have put all the ordinary people together because, the people that I was chatting to were lovely people that had done things for women's football or, there was a lady that worked for the National Crime Agency. There was 2 soldiers there that had done extraordinary things, very young men. So, yeah, it was really nice to be talking to other people and see why they'd got their awards as well. And they were like me, really. They were sort of ordinary people that had managed to achieve something extraordinary, I guess.
Well, let me say you're certainly not ordinary. And,
Thank you.
Your Park Lane volunteers have also been recognised this year, haven't they?
Yeah, so the Park Lane volunteers got the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, which was really special as it was in the Jubilee year. And then obviously the Queen has passed away. So it was the final year that we it would have been awarded by herself. So yeah, I mean, that was really special. And it's like an MBE for every single one of our volunteers. And we had to put names in a hat, and then 2 ladies' names got pulled out to see who would go and receive it. So they went to Tower of London to receive it on behalf of all the volunteers. And then the award is actually doing the rounds. People are allowed to have a couple of nights with it at home. And then everybody's had a certificate printed out if they want one that they can have at home and frame it. So, yeah, I was so pleased for them. And, you know, they really deserve it. And we can't do anything without them, you know, so they're the backbone behind the whole thing. So, yeah, it was great for them to be honoured that way. And we also got given a tree from the Queen's Green Canopy, which was part of the Jubilee as well. So we were actually given a silver birch tree as part of that. So yeah, I feel like we've done quite well this year as a charity.
Well, let's just go back that you last featured on the Paddock and the Pavilion back in late May. It was episode 127, and your book, Only Heroes and Horses, was just coming out, and you were about to go on breakfast television live in the studio with Naga and Charlie, I think. What was that like?
It was really terrifying. It was much more terrifying than anything I'd done before, because, I mean, I'd done lots of live TV, but when I'm standing there with a horse, I'm really, you know, it's fine, and you just look down the camera. But actually being in the studio, I felt like quite far out of my comfort zone. And then I'd said to somebody, oh, I'm really worried about it, you know, and they said, well, take a bit of horsehair with you. So I did. I had a little bit of horsehair in my hand, and then Naga sort of fixated on that. And it was, I got a bit told off actually, because I was supposed to talk about the book, and then she fixated on the horsehair, and then I just got like, I don't know, I was just thought I'm on the sofa at BBC Breakfast, and I don't even know what I was saying, but it was really, really exciting, and like to go to the actual studio, and you know, when you see it on the telly, and then it's actually really, really small, the studio, but it was much more difficult than being filmed at the stables, because you're out of your own environment. So I did my best, but I'm told that I could have done better.
Because the BBC really did make a difference. I was looking up, it was the 18th of February when you were first on breakfast television. That was at Park Lane Stables.
Yeah. And I remember that morning because I was very, very tired because I'd stayed up trying to fill in a business plan for the bank to borrow money. And I was really tired. And, you know, and Fiona Lambdin said, oh, you know, if you're lucky, you could get 100,000 from this. And I thought, brilliant, you know, 100,000, that'll really help. And then we'll have to borrow less money. At no point did we ever think that we were going to get the whole lot from BBC Breakfast. I mean, still now I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, did that happen? Like, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so exciting and so grateful to the breakfast viewers, you know, that they listened really and they acted and, you know, they saw the value in what we were doing. I'd like to thank every single one of them, but I hope they watched me on the telly that day and when I said thank you and they got the message.
And of course, on breakfast telly, you weren't allowed to wear your RDA hat, were you?
No, that was quite devastating. And for my MBE, I did have to wear a hat for the MBE. So I had a posh hat. And then I did actually wear my RDA scarf to the castle, but I took it off before I went into the room. But no, on breakfast telly, I had to go hatless. So that was a challenge for me, but I managed it, yeah.
Well, you haven't got your hat on this morning. But,
I know. I don't know what's going on. I've been up since so early. I'm like, I don't even know what my name is. I've forgot my hat. I'm on this sort of crazy countdown to Christmas, trying to manage the weather with the horses. It's rugs on, rugs off, you know, hay in the field. No hay in the field today because there's grass. So, oh my gosh, yeah, it's crazy. We've just got to keep going.
And on today's podcast interview, you're on your own. We've got no Trigger, we've got no Elliot, we've got no Prodney, we've got nobody with you. No.
No, not today. No, because I had a few things to do, and it's a bit difficult, to be honest, when it's all going on at the stable. So sometimes I do have to escape and have a little bit of quiet time. Then I can be a bit more productive with less interruptions. Yeah, but it does feel funny without them.
And how are book sales going? We've now gone from a hardback to a paperback. It was also included in the Racing Post as well.
Yeah, Racing Post did the most lovely review. I mean, the things they wrote, it was just so kind of them. And the sales are going well, actually. We have a secret that we're not allowed to share, and then that will, I think, boost sales. So my advice is get your hands on a book now, because it might be, you might not be able to get one if you're not careful. So yeah, we will have a big announcement, and I will come back on the Paddock and the Pavilion to tell everyone the big announcement, but I'm not allowed to tell you today because I will be told off. But yeah, it's going well. But the best thing about the book, actually, and this morning, I've just been doing some writing because people send me the most gorgeous handwritten letters, and I've just been replying to this guy who'd written to me, and he said that he'd read the book and it had inspired him to get more involved with horses, and so he'd gone to volunteer at his local riding centre, and then as a consequence of that, he got a pony on loan. And I just love that. I love that people are reading it and it's inspiring them. And another lady I remember wrote to me who'd read it and said she felt as if I'd given her permission to just enjoy her horse, because she'd owned this horse for quite a long time, and then she'd always had this guilt that she wasn't doing enough with the horse. And then when she read my book, she said she felt as if it's okay just to enjoy the horse and look after the horse well. You don't have to be competing at Hickstead. And that really meant a lot to me as well, because I thought, brilliant, people are realising that horses they're not just for competition or sport. They're also, companions, they're friends, aren't they? So yeah, it seems it's touched a lot of people, and I'm really pleased about that. And who knows where it will go? I can't say.
Well, it's a fantastic read. I thought I knew the story, and I really didn't until I started reading the book. There's things in there I'd never have dreamed. I thought that you were, you're doing well to keep going there at times, and you've already sort of mentioned that earlier in this podcast.
Yeah, I think it's, I hope that it gives people, a sense of hope and resilience, really. And, that you could be at rock bottom. And I'm sure there are people having a bad time this Christmas. And, but what I would say is just hold on. If you hit the bottom, hold on, because there's only one way to go, and that's up. And I'm proof of that. If I could tell my younger self, don't worry, you'll be all right in a few years' time. So I remember, really dark times, and it was around Christmas time when we had the fire, and I had nowhere to live. Somebody took me in locally, gave me a roof over my head, and I'd pretty much lost everything at that point. My dad was sort of at his wit's end and begging me to come back to Birmingham, but I stuck with it. So I just hope that the book says that to people, that doesn't matter how low you get, there's only one way to go, and that's back up.
And it's such an easy book to read, because all the chapters, you can read a chapter, put it down, and then pick the next chapter up. It's a real page turner, but one that you can stop and start and just carry on reading it.
Oh, good. I'm glad it reads like that, because that's what we hoped, and that people would enjoy it. And it wouldn't be too heavy going, because there are sad parts, aren't there? And I have had quite a few men actually say to me, they were listening to it on the train or reading it on the train, and it's made them cry. But we don't want to break everybody's hearts, but the truth is true, that those sad things did happen, and but it's all good in the end. And then the people that like Annie, that's in the story that who sadly died, her parents are happy that we're keeping her memory alive, and people are reading about her and talking about her, and you couldn't ask for more than that somebody's memory is kept alive.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Big box retailers, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a bill in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. Senate Bill 1838 would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, visit handsoffmyrewards.com and tell them to oppose credit card routing legislation paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
And you went to some different places to promote the book and with some of the horses as well.
Yeah, so Trigger loves a bit of attention. So Trigger and I did quite a lot of book signings. So we would pop him in the trailer, and Trigger loves to go somewhere where there's no other horses. So he'd be in his element at a bookshop where everybody's just petting him and taking his photograph, and that he'd be that's when he's happiest. So yeah, Trigger and I went to quite a few bookshops all over London. And then I went to the National Horse Racing Museum at Newmarket, which was really amazing actually, and met some lovely, lovely people. And, it was great to talk to people that love horses as much as I do. So I met some great people and we just talked horse all morning. And then I was lucky enough to have a good look around the museum. So that was a really special day.
Yeah, you went on the horse race simulator where Frank Conlon, a good friend of mine, showed you how to race ride.
Yeah, Frank was amazing. Yeah, and I came back and the children at the stables were so impressed. They were like, "Oh my God, you went on the proper simulator with Frank." And I was like, "Yeah, I did." They were impressed, and I promised them that I will bring them on a trip. And that they can have a little lesson from Frank as well. So I've got to make that happen in 2023.
Yeah, you must come back. And you also went to the British Racing School and the Injured Jockeys Fund as well.
I did, yeah, and that was amazing because we send a lot of children to the British Racing School. So it was really good to be able to go and see it firsthand and chat to the tutors there. That was great. And then the Injured Jockeys Fund is, wow, what an amazing building that is. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? And such an amazing facility. And then this weekend, actually, I was at the London International Horse Show and I was in the live zone and doing like a Q&A and things like that. And it was lovely because actually they reconnected me with some young people that are now 19 from Ebony Horse Club that I'd taught them to race. So I didn't know they were going to be there. And then when I got there, they were sort of like, and here they are, I knew them when they were like 11. So that was really lovely as well, to reconnect with them. So I've had a lot of nice opportunities this year, which has been great, and met some really, really lovely people.
Yeah, because O'Shane, who's been on this podcast, he was at Ebony, wasn't he? And O'Shane now writes out for Charlie Fellows.
Yeah. So we're really proud of O'Shane. And then the young people that were there on Saturday, they'd gone through the Racing a Dream Academy, which is part of the Khadija Mellah legacy. So there was a few kids there that one of them, actually, Ibrahim, I taught him to ride from scratch. As like when he met me, he'd never even seen a horse. And now he's gone through the academy, and he's doing really well. But O'Shane is great because like he's someone for them to aspire to be because he's a success story, so it's great that these children are coming through and becoming young adults and sticking with the industry.
Yeah, and when we were at the British Racing School, we got showed round by Carol Bramhill, and you were chatting to her about the possibility of people getting referred to the BRS in future as well.
Yeah, because we have a lot of young people that are a bit, they don't really know. They haven't enjoyed school. They're not massively academic, but they really enjoy the horses. So if we can steer them the right way, and also for them to recognise that you don't have to be a jockey, that there's a massive team of people in racing. And if you don't want to be the jockey or you don't have that ability, you can still be involved. So that's we steer a lot of people towards that career path, because we have a lot of young people sent to us that are not in educational training because they just can't cope in the school system. So it was great to be able to talk to the people at the BRS and then I can speak with better experience really to the families that we're sending there.
And what's life like now at Petersham? I just wanted to catch up with you there before we start talking about Park Lane.
It's busy. I mean, we've never been so busy, which is great, because what's happened is people have realised that we're there, and then we're having people reaching out to us that, I mean, there's, I just give you one example of a family where the mother, the child's been sent away from school. The mum was on the phone crying to us. She don't know what to do. She can't get through a week because the child's at home and she's at her wit's end. And she wouldn't have known about us if we hadn't had our profile raised. So it's great us getting these awards, and it's amazing to, be recognised. But the better thing that's come out of it is that people have found us. So, we're helping so many more families, and like that one family in particular, we've signposted the mum to other charities that can also help her. So now her week is getting more filled with different activities, and there's more structure for her. So, we're busy. We've survived this cold snap, which was really, really challenging for everyone, I'm sure. I mean, on Twitter, I saw all the racehorse trainers on the gallops, and I thought, crikey, what's wrong with us? They're just getting on with it. But yeah, it's good at Petersham, and we're really, really grateful to Peter McCormack that has let us stay there. But equally, we're really keen to get home. So, we've made it a home. We've settled ourselves in, but it'll be nice when we're back where we belong.
And I was reading on Twitter that plans for Park Lane's refurbishment have been submitted to Richmond Council. What's the sort of timescales now?
Well, it's not the quickest. I don't really know why the council don't move that quickly, but we have submitted it. I know with Christmas and everything, that's going to slow everything down. So we're just waiting, really. We're waiting for a green light from them. We've sort of gone ahead and started looking for the builder that we want to use, because there's no point us waiting for the planning and then trying to get the builder. So and because we're a charity, we have to do everything really properly. So we have to get like 3 quotes and then do all our due diligence on the background of them and everything. So we're doing all that while we're waiting for the council. And then it's going to be really exciting when we're home, because with horses, one of the biggest barriers is like you need an appointment to go to a stable. So that is the thing that we're taking away. We're taking away that appointment system. So we're going to make sure that there's a horse available all the time, not all night, but into the evening. And people can just come and just be with the horse, and they can chat to our volunteers and, hopefully meet like-minded people. I mean, we'll still obviously have to have the appointments for the actual riding and carriage driving, but we just wanted to help as many people as possible. And we thought that would be the best way by having a horse available at all times for people. So, yeah, that's the vision, really.
And how many horses will you be able to have on site?
Well, not that many, actually, because everybody will know that the place is tiny. And so we need to make it the best that it can be for the horses. So it will only be about 8 or 9 horses. But people that know us well know that we rotate the horses. So when they're not at the stables, they're at the field. And we've always run the stables like that, and we'll continue to do so. It works really well because they don't get fed up of being in, and they still get their downtime, their chill time. So yeah, there'll be 8 or 9 in at a time, and then they'll just constantly rotate as they always have done.
Now, are you hopeful of moving in 2023?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we will be back. Yeah. And then we want to welcome everybody. People write me gorgeous letters, and quite a few people have been to see us. But I think when we're home, properly home, I think more people will come and see us. People that that saw us on the telly that we haven't met yet. So I'm looking forward to that. And just to say, we've kept every single letter that was written to us. So when we were on the BBC, we had thousands of letters, not as many as Captain Tom got, but quite a few. And we kept every single one. So we're going to have some sort of display of those so that people will be able to read them, and they'll know that we've kept them all. So, that will be nice as well.
Well, it will be fabulous when you have an official opening.
Oh, yeah. We'll have an official opening and we'll get some celebrity to come and we'll have some sort of like parade up the street, and we want to involve the whole community. So, yeah, we'll no doubt close the road and cause chaos like we always did. Yeah, because we want everybody to be involved with it, because it's the people's stables, it's not my stables. It's for the people, and it's, it's for the community. So when we do reopen, we need to make sure that as many people as want to be are involved with that.
Well, that's what's special about Park Lane, because you had over 30,000 people who made donations to save the stables, didn't you?
Yeah, and that's mad, isn't it? I mean, that's like at Brentford, it holds 18,000. That's like 2 Brentford stadiums full of people that have supported us. And I'm always trying to thank those people. And there's a lot of people that donated as well that are not in the digital age, so they do write, and I write back to every single one of them. And I love that. I love that we still, we have that connection. And there's sometimes people that even phone up, call us up, and we have a chat. So, yeah, I wish that I could shake every single one of them by the hand and thank them personally. That would be lovely.
Now, you've mentioned Brentford a couple of times on the podcast now, and I know this is a cricket and horse racing podcast, but we've only just had the World Cup. But I wanted to ask you about Brentford and what the club means to you and your son Woody.
Well, it's like a huge family to us, to be honest. I write this podcast. Not a podcast. I write a blog, called Woody Welcomes. And we highlight every club that visits Brentford, and we meet a person with a disability, and then we write our blog about what those Premiership clubs do behind the scenes, because I think football gets a lot of bad press, and you get to hear all the bad things about the footballers. But what you don't get to hear about is all these things that go on behind the scenes for people with disabilities or people that are unwell and so on. So we're trying to highlight that. But for us personally, well, it's just a lifeline for us, because Woody is really like hyperactive, and he's really noisy. And when he goes to Brentford, he can just be himself, and it's so accepting, and he can shout his head off, and he can be Woody, and people have embraced that, and I could never thank them enough. And it's like an outlet for his energy, really. But they've just taken us into their hearts, and it's hard to explain, really. You'll have to come one day, but the atmosphere there is just electric. But it's so warm, and I wish people would hear more about that side of football, because I think people often have a misconception about football, and that's not my experience at all.
And the players and the manager have been very welcoming to you as well.
Yeah, they're delightful. I mean, last week they had an event there called Bees at Christmas. And, I don't know if other football clubs do this, but all the players are just sitting there and at the table, and you can just go up and chat with them and have a photograph with them. And Thomas Frank, who's Brentford manager, every single match, he comes up to Woody at the end of the match, every single game without fail. And he exchanges a few words with Woody, or a fist bump, or a hug, or, they commiserate with each other, they celebrate with each other. But it's like a genuine thing. And he also, Thomas Frank WhatsApps me on my phone little videos to Woody, like, hey, Woody, and what a great game that was. And so it's not to do with like media or press or publicity. It's genuine. And last Christmas, actually, and we didn't put this on social media in the press, but Thomas Frank came to our house, and I knew he was coming, but I didn't tell Woody. And the doorbell rang, and Woody answered the door, and Thomas Frank was standing there, and Woody he couldn't believe it. And Thomas went up to Woody's bedroom and had a good look at the bedroom, and then they played like snakes and ladders together, and Thomas had a bowl of pasta at our house. I mean, he's just such a kind man, and there's no sort of hidden agenda. It's just they're both just passionate about Brentford, and it's just it's a proper like family football club, and I'm sure it's going to stay that way forever.
I can hear what it means to you. Where are Brentford going to come at the end of the season? I looked up, they're 10th at the moment.
I don't know. I mean, as a Brentford fan, we don't really mind. We just want to stay up. And, you know, I often think, if we get relegated, what would that mean for Woody? And, you know, it wouldn't impact Woody because he would still have that same atmosphere, he'd still have the same experience of going to the games, you know, he'd still see the goals and see his friends. But it's obviously for the club, it would impact the club massively. And, for them, obviously, we want them to stay up. So we're realists. Brentford fans are realists. So, yeah, we got beat by Gillingham in the Carabao Cup. So, yeah, but we're just enjoying the ride.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic ride. So hopefully this season, I mean, who's next up for the Woody welcomes?
Tottenham. So we've got Tottenham on Boxing Day. So we've written the blog, we've got it all ready, and then we're meeting a young man called Nathan and his mum on Boxing Day, and then they do a shirt swap at every game. So we give them a Brentford shirt, and then Woody receives the shirt from the opposite team, and then somebody that we sit near at Brentford, their wife is going to sew them all into like a duvet for Woody, because he'll never wear them, you know. So we thought we don't want them to be wasted, so she's going to sew them all into a big duvet cover for him, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, we're just trying to shine a light on the positivity of football, and I hope we're doing that. So yeah, check out Woody Welcomes if anyone's got time.
Well, thanks again, Natalie, for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion. The one thing I always get from you, and it comes through all the time, is, like you say, positivity, which...
Yeah, we haven't got time for negativity. Definitely not. And I think you just have to repel negativity like a force field. That's what I try and do. We just don't let negativity in. Just stay positive. So I hope everyone has a really amazing 2023. And a happy Christmas to everybody.
Well, thank you, and to you and Woody and all the volunteers at Park Lane Stables. You've got a very exciting 2023 ahead. The internet's held up as well this morning,
I know,
so we've done really well, haven't we?
Yeah. So yeah, the luck's on our side this morning, definitely. But thank you for having me on.
And just one final thing, I looked on one of your pages, and it's hashtag Park Lane Stables are coming home. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, the football didn't come home, but we are definitely.
Well, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephen. Happy Christmas.
Thank you for listening to The Paddock and the Pavilion. You can download the show on Apple Podcasts,
Amazon Music,
SoundCloud, Stitcher and Spotify.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at The Pad and Pav. Don't forget, if you like the show, please do leave us a rating and review.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code play100. That's code play100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.